You might have heard of something that happened a long time ago known as the Good Friday earthquake. If you thought that this was an earthquake that must have happened on Good Friday, then you are correct. The earthquake happened on March 27, 1964, which was also liturgically the date for Good Friday in the year of 1964. Unfortunately, it was not a very good day for the state of Alaska or the United States as a whole. The earthquake caused widespread damage across the coast of Alaska and the Pacific coast of the U.S. The earthquake was known as a megathrust earthquake, which is a type of earthquake that occurs as a result of plate subduction. We've all learned about how the Earth recycles its crust by subducting old seafloor into the mantle, and this is exactly the process that caused what happened here. The Pacific Plate is slowly sliding under the North American Plate, which borders Alaska to a great extent. As the subducting Pacific Plate slides under the North American Plate, it builds up a great deal of friction. As the plate continues to move underneath, the amount of stress builds up, causing it to slip suddenly. This buildup of stress is then released into bursts of energy in the form of seismic waves, causing what we know to be earthquakes. This is what happened at the Aleutian Fault on that day, and the average slip was about 30 feet along the fault on the day of the earthquake, which is quite a bit of movement for a plate. It occurred at 5:36 AST and lasted for about 3 minutes in duration. It had a recorded moment magnitude of 9.2 and ranked as an 8.4 to 8.6 on the Richter scale. You may have heard of many earthquakes having a Richter scale value of maybe 6 or 7 causing quite a bit of damage, but many people don't realize that the Richter scale actually works logarithmically, not linearly. That means that with each increase in magnitude, the amount of ground shaking experienced actually increases tenfold, and the amount of energy release increases 32-fold. So this earthquake is literally 10 times stronger than an earthquake with a magnitude of 7, and those can still be pretty devastating. That's why this earthquake was the strongest on record to ever occur in the United States and second in the world. Like I said earlier, the coastlines of Alaska was affected the greatest as the rupture that caused the earthquake was only 74 miles east of Anchorage. The Alaskan areas that suffered the most damage was the William Sound, Kenai Peninsula, and Kodiak Island areas. The city that suffered the most damage was the Alaskan city of Valdez. After the initial earthquake hit, the seismic waves caused a large wave of water to surge towards the coast of Alaska. The earthquake also caused the sea level to shift up to 30 feet and drop up to 8 feet in some areas of the coast. This large displacement of land also caused some water to move as smaller tsunamis. The earth and tsunamis that occurred afterwards caused the port of Valdez to entirely collapse due to an underwater landslide resulting in 30 deaths. Not only did the resulting tsunamis cause flooding and water damage, but it saturated the soil with salt water, causing the loss of natural habitats for many species along the Pacific coast. There were also many casualties in other U.S. states such as Oregon, Washington, and California due to these. It also took over an entire year for the earthquake's aftershocks to go unfelt. Many of these aftershocks were pretty strong, some with magnitudes greater than 7 on the Richter scale. Many people in Valdez lost everything they had. The large-scale damage, change in sea level, and fear of this event happening again prompted the government of Valdez to entirely relocate the city. Many of the citizens had an optimistic perspective on rebuilding the city and were eager to comply with that decision despite everything they had been through. The amount of community effort and collaboration gathered the attention of many, and the town of Valdez was given the All-American City Award for their hard work. The impact of this earthquake also made the U.S. government start to realize that earthquakes can be a significant threat to major cities. It wasn't until 1977, after multiple strong earthquakes happened in San Francisco, that the U.S. government decided to form the National Earthquake Hazards Reduction Program. Essentially, what they do is research ways that we can reduce the damage that earthquakes can have on people's lives, which is important because there are still a good number of populated cities near plate boundaries in the U.S. It's important that the government also does its job to protect the people by taking the necessary precautions and measures to monitor hazards like these. In short, the Good Friday earthquake had a big physical, economical, and political impact on the United States. Sometimes we don't realize that bad things can happen until they do, but it's important to act as quickly as you can because people's lives depend on it. Research on this earthquake is still ongoing, and there are still many things we can learn from it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something new from my video.